Welcome, and I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here today. We're going to be talking about the October Boss event, which I'm really excited to share. And you can see I have an absolutely lovely guest, the hardest working woman in skincare, Bev May. How are you, Bev?
I'm really good. It's lovely to be
Yeah,
here. Thank you,
yeah.
Kimberly.
Well, I'm so thrilled to be here. And you guys are probably saying, Kimberly, the Boss event, it's the middle of the month. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a hurricane, and then there was another hurricane, so I'm a little bit behind. Bev and I finally got our calendars together and decided that we both had some free time today, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the Boss event. Most of you who are on the email newsletter list already know about it because that gets included every Sunday morning so that you can see all month long what the Boss event is. So if you missed the early part, you can still find it in the email newsletter and all the links are there. If you're not on the email newsletter list, you want to get on it because it's the most popular thing about the channel. I could disappear tomorrow. Everybody'd be wanting the email newsletter. The link is in the description box down below. So we did start the sale a little bit earlier towards the end of last month, and it's been going on a few weeks, but I generally do a dedicated video like this one to kind of walk through what the sale is and what the special parts about it. That's what we're going to do today. And also, Bev is here. She is so brilliant. She is so knowledgeable about skincare. I haven't met anyone else who has a depth and breadth of understanding of what happens with our skin other than Bev. So I'm so glad that you're here today. The Boss event is listed in the description box down below. It's 28% off the entire Maysama site, which is such a good deal. It really is. And everything from Maysama is beautifully produced. I mean, everything is just gorgeous. And this is my favorite little device that sits in my shower. We'll be talking about this a little bit later, but if you like a good, exfoliation of your skin, this is the ticket. So, Bev, welcome in. Thank you for being patient as I kind of talk through what we're doing here. What I want to focus on today, not only the great Boss event, and thank you again for being so generous with my viewers. And the Boss event is exclusive to the viewers of Pretty Over 50. So, this is a deal that only we have. And Bev has been so very generous with us on that. What we're going to talk about today is Pulse Red Light. And Bev walked me through it a few weeks ago, and I was just stunned and amazed because I hadn't really done a deep dive into it. Bev's products do feature Pulse Light, and it's a different form of red light. You guys know that I say over and over again, if you're going to get one device, get a red light device.
Yeah.
And this device, Bev's device right here, is absolutely the cutting edge in red light therapy. So, why don't you kind of talk to us about first the benefits of red light, which most of us know, but then why pulse light really takes it to the next level?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just for anybody within your community that perhaps isn't familiar with red light therapy or LED light therapy, we tend to call it now. Let's just start with red and near infrared light is part of sunlight. So it's part of nature's natural defense against UV. So UV light is harmful, and that exposure to red light and near infrared light in sunlight can give us a preparative and reparative effect against UV radiation. But the great thing about LED technology or red light therapy is we can now harness that and use it in our own. What we're doing at Maysama is taking that up a level by looking at pulse light, which outperforms regular or continuous wave every single time. And I'll explain a little bit about why. So when we're looking at pulse light, firstly, I think just so that people understand what we mean by pulse light, it's essentially just turning the light on and off. It's as simple as that. So think of a strobing effect. It is a strobing effect, although the pulse can be many different frequencies. So you can have it as low as 1 hertz and it's quite a slow pulse, or you can have it really fast, even like nanoseconds, and you wouldn't see it. So it would be invisible to the naked eye. We tend to work in the lower range, the 1 to 100 hertz. So at 100 hertz, it's invisible. And within our panel, we use the lower frequencies 10, 20, and 30, which is visible to the naked eye. But the effect that it has is you're increasing the peak power. When that pulse is on, you actually get a higher amount of energy. And that really helps to stimulate the cells. It stimulates the mitochondria in the cells and helps them to produce more ATP. We get more cells produced, the cells that produce collagen, and you get more of those cells, we get more collagen. So what we're looking at, the benefits of red light and near-infrared light, are anti-aging. We get a reduction in fine lines and wrinkles, and a reduction in pigmentation, and a reduction in erythema, and it's anti-inflammatory. So it's a biostimulator that does so many things. So the pulse light, I think we should probably understand a little bit about continuous light and how it works. When we use red light therapy, it stimulates the mitochondria to produce more cellular energy in the form of ATP. But as a byproduct of that, we get free radicals. And you might have heard of free radicals, and they're not all bad. I think a lot of us associate them with aging and with disease, but actually they're really important signaling molecules in the body. So when you get that initial burst of free radicals, it's beneficial. It's part of how red light therapy works, because it sends signals to the cell to start proliferating, to start producing more DNA, to give us protein synthesis. So all good things. But as those free radicals build up, they then actually start to inhibit those very processes. So it's a little bit ironic. It kind of is cyclical in that way. So that's why when you look at red light devices, it generally gives you a treatment time, maybe 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And ideally, you wouldn't exceed that, because you start to get this diminished response. You get less of a benefit from it. If you're using pulse light, you don't. You don't, because it actually helps buffer those free radicals. So normally when you shine the light on the cell, you get this burst of free radicals and you get ATP production. But then when the light is off, the cell will use up its cellular energy reserve, and those free radicals dissipate, they disappear, so they don't build up. So you don't reach this point where it starts to slow down the processes that we want red light therapy for in the first place, which is accelerated cells, regeneration, and protein synthesis, so more collagen. So that's one of the main benefits of pulse light, is mitigating these free radicals and just making your red light device work more efficiently for longer.
That was my question. So the studies have shown that pulse light is more effective than non-pulse light.
Yes.
Is it just the diminishment of the free radicals, or is it the action of kind of pulsing that cell or that light into that cell that also increases the improvement?
That is actually a completely different benefit, but I was absolutely going to mention that, Kim, and I'm glad you brought it up. So we have a ongoing dialogue with a number of photobiomodulation scientists, so basically LED scientists. And one of those people is Andre Sommer. Now, he wrote that original science paper, which was titled Green Tea and Red Light Therapy, a Powerful Duo for Skin Rejuvenation. And it was Andre Sommer that said to me, you should be using pulse light. And I said, why? And he said, well, it will help the uptake of your skincare ingredients, and explained to me how that works. So when you shine the light on the cell, there's fluid inside that cell. We call it the cytosol. And the red light makes that fluid expand. So the cell expands. When you turn the light off, if you're pulsing the light, the cell contracts. So the water inside the cell actually extends beyond that lipid membrane when the light is on. And that's fantastic, because most active ingredients really struggle to get through that lipid membrane. Then that's quite hard to permeate. So if the water comes out of the cell and then the cell shrinks, it effectively sucks in all those active ingredients surrounding the cell. So they use this as a drug delivery system. The work that Andre Sommer's team does is with anti-cancer drugs. And one of those drugs, ironically, is green tea, or ECGC from green tea. So they've proven that it works and you get this uptake, improved uptake of skincare ingredients. So that is different to the benefit that we're talking about with the free radicals, which is to do with the mitochondria, the organelles in the cells that produce cellular energy. But it is also related to the water, but it's to do with the water inside the mitochondrial membrane. And what happens there is there's a little tiny enzyme which is like a motor. It's called ATP synthase. It's ATP synthase, which is the last enzyme in the electron transport chain, and it makes that cellular energy. Now, if you can imagine, you've got a motor in water, you know, think of a speedboat that's going along perfectly fine. If you threw a load of sugar into the sea and it became viscous, then all of a sudden that motor would slow down and you'd have this resistance. And what happens when you get this buildup of free radicals, it makes the water sticky. So it slows down the motor, the nanomotor that produces the cellular energy. So clever. So you use the red light, it makes the water expand, it decreases the viscosity of the water, makes it expand, and that little ATP motor can speed up. And that's how it works.
Wow, that's fascinating to me that they can not only get into the cell and see exactly what's happening, but identify and define the processes that's making all that happen. So
Yeah.
this is what's behind us wanting to look better.
Absolutely. And it does work. It really does. And you don't need that much. You know, I think a lot of people perhaps historically have started with maybe a small lamp, and then they've upgraded and they've got a bigger and bigger panel because they've thought, you know, more is more, you get more irradiance and you'll get a better result. You certainly, you know, would benefit from targeting more areas, but actually what they're finding for superficial tissue, for skin, that less is more, that you actually want very low doses to get the optimum biostimulatory effect.
And why is that?
Gosh, it is to do, it's complex. It's to do with these free radicals. So there is a threshold that they pass where things start to become less effective.
Mhm.
So we talk about a Goldilocks zone in scientific studies, where if you could imagine the stimulus sort of at the extremes where it's too low or too high, but then in the middle, you've got this area where it's just right. And that's effectively what we want to do. We want to get that dosing in that just right area. And this is where pulsing again gives an advantage, because if you carry on, if you have a prolonged session with continuous wave, red or near-infrared light, you eventually get to this point where these free radicals build up and they'll exceed that Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
It
right.
doesn't exceed the Goldilocks zone. I mean, it would eventually, because you can't have infinite amounts of ATP in your body. That becomes self-limiting. There's only so much energy your cell will need, but it will allow you to up-regulate the amount of ATP that you get when you use pulse light.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I say continually on my channel is red light is a sneaky way for me to get everyone healthier. You know, we are attracted to it for the, you know, softening our fine lines and wrinkles. I know that there's nothing that I've seen that helps my neck look a little bit firmer than red light. It's just miraculous. What When we talk about ATP, and I've talked about it a little on my channel, but you have a much deeper understanding. Why is red light so good for our overall health, particularly with the stimulation of ATP?
Because everything requires energy. I mean, whether you're looking at cell division or protein synthesis, any biological event requires energy, and ATP is our energy currency. That's why we need it. And the older we get, the less efficient our mitochondria become at actually producing that energy. So if we
Yeah.
can give them a helping hand with something as non-invasive as LED therapy, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And just such a handy, wonderful thing. You know, I know people who will get injuries and put their light on the injury, who are, you know, it's like whenever I'm feeling like I'm getting a bug on, I'm going to go sit in front of my red light because I know that's going to help my body have the energy it needs to work through things. Thank you so much for this. I am always so impressed with your depth of knowledge. What I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about the different products that you are now offering through Maysama and why you decided that was going to go into the product line and a little bit about each one. So this is the red light panel, the pulse light panel, which is so beautifully manufactured. It really is a gorgeous unit. Tell us about this and why you put it together the way it is.
Sure. Well, as I said, you know, many people might start with something very small, and myself, I started with just an LED lamp, and I think I probably used that for 12 months. And then I got myself a panel, which used to hang on the back of a door. And I don't know, I guess I wanted something that would be more aesthetic, but just as efficacious. I wanted something that would look beautiful on a vanity unit. So sleek and stylish, but at the same time, very, very efficient. So what we've done with our Pulse 40 panel, and you have it there, which is beautiful. If I turn it, I'll just turn it on very briefly so people just get an impression of that. Put it into the screen. So it's, as you can see, it's very, very slimline, but it packs a punch. You know, it delivers 200 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches away, which is equivalent to pretty much any other panel out there. But as I said, for skin rejuvenation, you don't need those levels. By the time you're sat 9 to 12 inches away, the dose is correct for what you need for skin. But if you were looking to treat a shoulder or a back, you could certainly hold it very close or place it very close to your skin for even deeper penetration and higher radiance. You can use it in that very versatile way. And it's a beautiful portable panel. I mean, I wouldn't encourage people to put it in their suitcase and take it on a holiday with them. It does have a glass front, but it's lightweight and very portable.
It is very portable. And this, I won't do it right here because it folds flat. I mean,
It does fold flat.
It's
yes.
absolutely lovely. And when you said sleek and stylish, it really, really is. It's not that clunky big unit that hangs on the back of your door. I have one of those.
No noisy fans, and yet
Yeah.
you've got zero EMFs, so you know that it's very safe to use. And then you've got the flexibility of the wavelength. So you've got red in there and you've got near infrared, or you can select just one or the other if you're looking for specific programs. You've also got an ambient function. So if you're just getting started with red light and you want to reduce that intensity, you can knock it right back down to 25%. And you can use that also, for sleep optimization, other applications like that, where you can just change that ambient function and have like a low level red light for sleeping, which is lovely.
Beautiful. Okay, so those who don't like a panel, those who want a face unit, and you also have the neck and chest unit right here. Can you talk to us about these?
Yes, yeah. Well, the Prana mask we launched in January of this year and has been extremely popular. So LED masks, I love the way you hold that up. LED masks in general. I was quite surprised because I was a panel, I don't know, not addict, but I preferred a panel to a mask for a very, very long time. But that's partly because I have rosacea and I don't like anything touching my skin.
Oh.
And I really didn't expect the LED mask to be as popular as it is. But I will say it generally is more beginner friendly. So we've talked about pulsing, and we didn't show the light pulsing because I don't think that we would necessarily want to do that on the screen. Or should we? Should we just, I think if I do it briefly, because it is nice for people to have an understanding. So if I just
Okay.
pop and then just put that on pulse. Maybe they can see that.
So you definitely want to wear your goggles.
So yes, you would absolutely need to wear your goggles with the with the panel, when you're using a panel, the light would be directed straight into the retina. For that reason, we've made the pulsing visible, which is why we use the lower frequencies, 10, 20, and 30. There's not necessarily any difference between 10, 20, and 30. We've actually just done that to future-proof the device, because sometimes protocols come out where they say, actually, you know, you should be using 30 hertz for this or 10 hertz for this. So we've just put in a number of frequencies to future-proof it. At the moment, there isn't enough data to say that one is better than the other. And as we said at the beginning of the video, there are pulse frequencies up to 1400 hertz. We've seen benefits, although we do generally tend to see them more at this lower end, up to about 100 hertz. So with the mask, one of the reasons why it's more beginner friendly is because the pulsing is invisible to the naked eye. Now, I could do that with this because you don't actually have the light directed into the retina. So it's a panel. So people don't need to wear goggles with a mask. We have the lovely eye surrounds. If I put the pulse on, sometimes you can pick up the pulsing. You can probably see it a little bit. It depends on the camera, whether that picks up or not. But if you were looking at it, you wouldn't see the pulsing.
Right.
So you've got the benefit of pulsing in the mask without the strobing effect, which I think if people are starting out, they do find that more comfortable and easier to get to grips with. But other people, you know, it very much is horses for courses. I love using a panel. I also now love using that because I've got the neck and deck, and I've been using our chin to chest.
Yeah.
I enjoy, you know, the contact LED potentially can give an advantage. A lot of the scientists prefer what they call contact LED, where the LED is directly on the skin, just because you get less light diffraction. So for that reason, you get better light penetration.
Interesting, particularly for that area with us
Yeah.
ladies who get a little bit older.
Yes, exactly. So both we call this a chin to chest for a very good reason. I don't know whether you've noticed this little bit here, but we have a novel submental flap, basically a little bit that goes under the chin. Put that back on, that you can see here that we're actually targeting the chin. And this is great because if you take a traditional setup with a kind of neck and deck device and then an LED mask, this area under the chin is left in shadow. So we've addressed that with this little chin flap.
Yeah.
So you've got, when you put the two together, it's what we call our head to heart combo. And you've got head to heart. So you've got good coverage from top of your head down to your heart.
Yeah. And I know some people that they get, you know, they wake up and then they put on their mask and then they lay in bed for 10 minutes and just relax in the morning. I think it's a personal thing. I've always been a panel girl, but some people are just a face mask girl, you know, and I think that's just a difference. Okay, can I talk about one of my favorite products from you? It's this urchin.
Before you do, I should just add on, because one thing that we didn't mention is that the Prana LED mask also offers blue, a combination of red and blue for treating acne. So it's something that with a lot of other brands, you have to buy a separate mask, but it gives you much better value for money. It's all in one. So you can select red and near infrared, which is generally best for anti-aging, or you can have red only, or you can have red and blue for acne. With the chin to chest, we haven't included blue because most people don't have acne in this area. So it is concentrating on red and infrared, but we've really concentrated the LEDs. So there's more LEDs than most other chin and neck devices that we've seen.
Okay. So that makes me think, okay, so if you have someone in the family with acne issues and someone that's getting the wrinkly crinklies, you can definitely share the device back and forth.
Yeah. Yes, because it's also super hygienic because it's silicone. It's antibacterial anyway.
Oh, good thinking. You just thought about this thing, didn't you?
I tried.
Yeah. Okay, so can we talk about the urchin now?
You can.
I love this sticky little thing. I have this in my shower. It holds a charge forever. And it does this little spinny thing with the red light. You can do the technical. I love this thing. It is the coolest way to just really get a nice soft exfoliation on your skin. I get sebaceous filaments just because I still have some oily areas of my skin. This keeps them all cleaned out, and I just love this. So talk to us a little bit about this and what all the little cool things you put in this device. This is called the urchin, if you're
It's called the
curious.
urchin. Yeah, because it kind of looks like a little hedgehog, doesn't it? Let's be fair. It looks like a little hedgehog or an urchin.
Yeah.
So this is a multifunctional device. It combines sonic cleansing. So you can see we've got the sonic cleansing brush head on here. And if you press the button like that, and then the top, you can hear that vibrate. So you can have different levels. If we take the head off, you can see underneath that you've got this flashing red light and a probe. And actually this delivers microcurrent. So separately, I've turned the vibration off now, and you've just got flashing red light, and then I can have 3 different levels of microcurrent as well. So it's multifunctional, and it's just such stinking great value, to be honest. If you try and buy yourself a microcurrent device and then a cleanser, you could be paying over $100 easily for one of these little sonic cleansing devices. And then a lot of the microcurrent devices are around $400. We've combined everything, and it's $165 at retail price. And of course, you've got your boss deal with 28% off. And don't forget, exclusive to your deal as well, you get a lovely free headband with that too. Any LED device.
Yeah. This is a good little starter.
It's
a
great.
good little starter. If you're not quite sure yet, this could be a nice little way to start. My guess is that if you use this, you will fall in love with it like I did. I'm not really kind of a this sort of gadget kind of gal. I love this thing.
It just feels so comfortable to hold, relative to other devices that I've used in the past. Like you, I find it quite addictive to use.
Yeah, it's a darling little thing. So we've got a few more minutes. What would you like to share additionally about what you think are the really great values for the Boss event for this month?
Yeah, I mean, our LED range is pretty extensive now. Clearly, we've got the panel, we've got the prana mask, and we've got the chin to chest, which together sells as the head to heart. If you're looking for something just as a stocking filler, you don't quite have the budget for one of these bigger LED devices, but you want to get started with LED, a great place you could start is just with our little LED gua sha.
Yeah.
It's so cute. It looks like a little compact. This retails at just less than $70. So it comes down to about $50 with your deal. And if I turn that on, you can see it's got red and near infrared light, and use this as a gua sha treatment. And we actually launched an oil this year, our BioFirm oil. Let me show you in the packaging because it's just so beautiful. Here we go. So this is such a beautiful little gift, the two together. And this is dragon's blood oil and green rooibos and pecky seed oil. And there's no essential oils in here, because I have such sensitive skin, we formulate without essential oils, but it has the most delightful sort of complex fruity aroma to it. And it's beautiful to use with gua sha, which is a traditional Chinese medicine technique, but combined now with LED tech. So it's pretty cool.
That's a brilliant idea. Did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am always so impressed. I truly am so impressed with your company.
These fly out the door. We sell so many of these. People love them.
And that's a great gift item too.
It's such a great little pairing. It really is. Yeah. So if you go for the urchin, get yourself a cleanser.
Oop. There she went. Yeah. Maybe her internet dropped. Oh my gosh. I wonder if she's going to come back. Anyway, what I want to say with you guys is the reason I love Maysama so much is that you're looking at the company with Bev. This is not a huge corporation. This is not a company with, 100 people in the marketing department coming up with advertisements. It's Bev. And she built this company from the ground up, from her passion for skincare, her understanding of the rooibos product line, and everything else that comes with it. So what I can say is, if you are looking for a red light, this is a great value. This is. And if it's just too much for you, you could start with the urchin or the gua sha that she was just showing. it's nice to support a company with integrity and a company that really has a heart. It is Bev. Bev is the company. I think she has a couple of gals that work with her. So wonderful Boss event for this month. And one of the things that I love the most about the Boss events is each one of these companies is really, really a good company. And that's important to me. So thank you guys so much. I think Bev's internet probably dropped, but we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you're looking for a red light product or any of the products from Maysama, this is a good time to take advantage of it because it is a 28% discount across the entire Maysama website and a great value for LED, particularly with the Pulse. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. You guys know it just tickles me when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. All right, make it a great day, and I'll see you guys this Sunday with a fun video. Bye now.